Nobody runs 80 years without somebody they love dying, without getting sick, without serious trials. No one makes it clean through life in a fallen world.
Thanksgiving morning, I was getting ready to, actually felt really great. I was organized. I woke up before everyone else, crack open the cinnamon roll thing and put them in the oven, and just really kind of going about my morning in the kitchen getting ready.
I got up and poured myself a cup of coffee and asked Lauren how I could help, and she asked me to feed Nora. And so I sat on the couch and fed Nora and burped her, and then walked her over and put her in her Johnny jump up. And then I turned to go back to my chair.
And then all of a sudden I hear this crash, and I'm waiting to hear Matt say, "It's okay, babe, I got it." And I didn't hear anything. Then the next thing I hear is Audrey, our then 6-year-old, say, "Dad?" And that was odd because I didn't hear Matt's voice. And I walk in, and Matt is on the ground close to the hearth of the fireplace and having a grand mal seizure.
We were told at the hospital that when I start kind of coming to, they had already done the CT scan. They saw a shadow in the CT scan and they wanted to do an MRI.
Then they took him back for tests, and they did find a tumor, and the ER doctor recommended that we see a neurosurgeon as soon as we could.
I mean, life for me up until that point had just always been best case scenario. And so I thought, okay, we'll go see the neurosurgeon, they'll give me the right meds, and we'll just keep trucking along.
So when we got into his office and he starts showing us the film, it's evident it's large.
And I mean, he just very bluntly says, "This looks really bad. We've got to go in pretty quick. In fact, I made room for you on Friday. So we're going to do a craniotomy on Friday, and not only get this, we're going to have to get around it."
When Friday morning came, I got to pray with Matt and sing over him, and you know, there was this question of who will he be when he comes out.
It was 8.5 hour craniotomy. The diagnosis we got from the doctors was anaplastic, which means malignant, oligodendroglioma, which is a type of primary brain cancer. Statistics say that I have 2 to 3 years of life.
The days after that, he digressed.
My big fear was that you just don't die pretty from this one, and you lose parts of your mind, like you stop being you. And so my great fear was that my kids would watch me waste away and would grow very embittered towards the God I love so deeply and desperately, and they would unnerve me. And so to see them it would create this soul ache in me. And so, man, I would just put on worship music in my headphones and was just kind of withdrawn. And I was just trying to cope.
I gave him the space, but then there was a point where I felt like he was at a place that he could enter in back with us. I tried to graciously approach him and say, "Babe, I know this is a lot to deal with, but you're here with us now, and we need you to be present. Because you're here, you're not gone."
And so she was really the one that kind of said, "Hey, let's do this, and let's make much of Jesus in it," and that's kind of what we did. I never felt fragile. I mean, I'm 6'5", 200 pounds, always been strong, always been quick, always been able to knock things out. When they started that first full dose round of the chemo, I just became very depressed and just felt like my insides were rotting out. And for the first time on a consistent basis for nearly 2 years, I had about 8 days a month. I was just done. You start to really see what's really important and what's not important, and how, when all's said and done, it's me and the Lord. I mean, that's what it is. It's me and God. And then that idea that even what I was walking through is for my good and His glory, and trying to get my head around this being for my good, as awful as it was. But then I would start to see it. And then those moments where I'm like, I'm really all in here. I really believe this. The empathy that was created in my heart for others who suffer, the idea of being able to mourn with those who mourn. I mean, all that came out of this season.
During that season, what I was asking the Lord was that He would just use our story to glorify Him and to make much of Him, and that other people would find comfort in it.
We're past 3 years now, in fact, coming up on 4 years, and there's been no recurrence, and all my scans have come back perfectly clear, and I've been off chemo and everything for over a year now.
To have Matt longer and to have clean scans, that each scan I am grateful. Each day that we have with our kids as a family, I'm so much more grateful.
The single greatest thing I learned through it all was I really believe this. I mean, I really got all my chips in. I'm not, the thought of standing in front of God at early 30s with 3 small children at home and a beautiful wife who now is husbandless. Like I was able to lay that down and just say, hey, I'm yours. You're what I want, you're my treasure, you're what I'm after. And so the crazy thing is through all of it, the epiphany is, oh my gosh, I believe it. I mean, I really, really, really believe it.